A nice light thing going on with my camera here. A glare. Let's see. It's the pillar of light. Okay. It'll just be that way, I guess, for a little bit. Hi.
Hi.
Welcome. All right. Well, nice to see you all again after a couple weeks. So let's get right to it. If you'd like to tuck your thumbs into your fingers, you can do that. And resting the hands on the thighs, just taking a few moments to bring our awareness to the three treasures. So tuning in to the body, the alignment of the body, the physical sensations that are present, comfort, discomfort, the weight of the bones, the feeling of the ground beneath you. And as much as you can, just really allowing the weight of your body to settle into the ground, to just feel yourself being supported by the earth. And just continuing to release into that support. Just allowing the letting go and the relaxation to make the support of the earth more apparent, because it's there whether we notice it or not. And so we're taking the time to notice it. Just feel how, as we relax and let ourselves get heavy and settle, there's something underneath us, supporting us. And as we relax into that support, there's space. And we can then breathe into that space. And as you breathe into the body, there may be some spots that become apparent, whether those are spots of space or held tension. Just breathing into them, and again, just continuing to relax and let go and just release into the support of the earth beneath you. Allowing that support to make the space that's inside of us and all around us become more evident. And with our breath, we can breathe that space into us. We can expand into that space inside and all around us. And just letting that be the focus of the mind, the sensation of the earth beneath us, awareness of the physical sensations, relaxing and releasing into the support of the earth, into the space all around us. And with the breath, just expanding into that space, or allowing the space to expand into you. And as you're ready, we can bring our hands together, rub our palms together, generating some heat, maintaining an awareness of our alignment and our breath, and the focus of our minds, or perhaps even the space around the focus of our minds. And then a nice deep breath in. Shake it out, rubbing the palms together. Feel free to massage one hand with the other if you'd like. Let's do another nice deep breath in. Shake it out. Then we'll freshen up chi in our hands, and we can then bring our hands to our faces and give ourselves a little face massage. And you can massage up and out, you can massage up and down, or out and in. There's not one way to do this. There are many ways of doing it. So feel free to try different things and find what the different things feel like, what resonates. And then from here, we can just bring our fingertips over our scalps, and we can massage our scalps. Make sure you take the time to explore the whole surface area of your scalp. I sometimes like to call this Einstein's hairbrush. And as you're ready, your hands can slide down the back of your neck and around. And then a nice deep breath in. Shake it out. Rubbing the palms together, breathing. Let's take our palms and cup them over our eyes. Gentle pressure to the eye sockets. Your eyelids can be opened or closed. Just taking a moment to give our eyes some rest, or maybe just looking into darkness. Allowing our attention to move inward, downward. The eyes are an extension of the brain, so when we give our eyes a rest, we're giving our brain and central nervous systems a rest. And as you're ready, another nice deep breath in. Shake it out. Rubbing the palms together and breathing. And now let's take the base of our left wrist in between our eyes onto the acupoint yin tong. And then we can just draw the hand across the forehead, the eyebrow, off to the side, and then same thing, base of the right wrist in between the eyes. Just draw the hand across. Just feel this. Like, how does it feel? Does it feel good? If not, can you find a way of doing it that does feel good? Whether that's applying a little more or less pressure, or drawing the hand more slowly or quickly across the forehead. Just find the way of doing this that feels good. This acupoint, yin tong, it relates to the pineal gland. It helps to calm the mind, alleviate pain. And whenever you complete your next pass with whichever hand you're using, take a nice deep breath in, shake it out, rub the palms together, breathing deeply with the whole body. And then we'll take the edge of our thumbs to the edge of our nose, and we can massage up and down from the base of the nose and the nostrils up to the bridge of the nose in between the eyes, opening up the sinuses, breathing through the nose as we do this. And a deep breath in. Freshening up our hands, checking back in with our alignment, breathing into the shape of our body, letting that be the focus of our minds. And then we'll take the tips of the thumbs on either side of the mouth, one hand below, one hand above. Draw back and forth, massaging your lips, massaging your gums, generating some saliva. Deep breath in and out. Rubbing the palms together, breathing. And now let's take our palms and make forward circles over our ears. Nice deep breath in and out. Rubbing the palms together, aligning, breathing. And then we'll do our self-shoulder massage, beginning with the left arm to the right shoulder, letting gravity do most of the work. Taking your time. Just bringing a little intention into, or attention, to the hand that's swinging up to your shoulder. And just as you do that, just notice, does that change how your hand moves and lands? Or sometimes when I do that, I notice the sound that my hand makes as it lands on my shoulder changes, which I think is kind of cool. And you can land gently or forcefully, up to you. And maybe even feel, like, where does the vibration travel when the hand lands on the shoulder? Does it spread laterally across your shoulders? Does it travel down through your body to your hips? Does it reverberate back out? Maybe it does something different every time. Just notice what is happening right now. One more on each side. Deep breath in and out. Rubbing the palms together, breathing. Let's open our chests. So right fingertips into a beak, finding the bottom of the left collarbone and sliding out into that hollow space near the shoulder. Left fingertips into a beak, find the bottom of your right rib cage and trace it down until you find a little notch that you fall into. And then let's tap these two spots and make small circles as you tap if you'd like, just to feel each of these areas. Take your time, feel into what you feel, and it may happen that you find a spot in one or both of these spots that kind of stands out, and so you can hang out on that particular spot. And breathe into these two spots. And breathe into the space in between these two spots. Fill up your rib cage with your breath. Bridge the gap between these two spots. And not only in the front of the rib cage, but imagine you're tapping all the way through to the back of the rib cage and fill in the space between the two spots on the back side of the rib cage as well. You can breathe vigorously if you'd like a big strong inhalation, big strong exhalation. We're getting chi pumping. And as you're ready, you can transition to massaging these two spots or 2 points. And then let's switch sides. So left fingertips under the right collarbone, finding the hollow space near the shoulder. Right fingertips to the bottom of the left rib cage and slide down into your hollow space. And then just gently tap each of these spots. Feel free to look around, making small circles. The different sides of the body can sometimes feel quite different from each other. So just feeling what this side feels like. If you find a distinct sensation in one or both of these points, hang out on that spot. Breathe into it. Breathe through it, through the rib cage to the back side of the body. Bridge the gap between these 2 points. Form a connection with your breath. The lower point is the last point on the liver meridian. The upper point is the first point on the lung meridian. The liver is the storehouse of the blood. The lungs are the commanders of the breath and the qi. Stimulating these points, helping to circulate both blood and qi. The lower point's name is the gate of hope, sometimes translated as the gate of time. The upper point is the central palace. When qi and blood is not circulating, it's stagnant. It's stuck in time. Thinking about things, how we would like them to be different than how they are, or just not being with whatever is. Stagnant qi and blood. So we want the qi and blood to move, to circulate, to be alive now. Out of time, eternally present, the central palace. And you can massage these 2 points. Continuing to breathe. And then a nice deep breath in. Shake it out. Rubbing the palms together. We can bring our hands over our lower ribs and massaging the lower ribs, and then just starting to move onto the belly as well as the lower ribs, and maybe one hand can come over the chest, other on the belly, and if you'd like, you can switch which hand is up top. And your hands can do whatever they'd like, if it's the belly and the ribs, the heart and lungs, something else. But taking the time to acknowledge the organs that are inside of our torsos and our abdomens, under the rib cage, the heart and lungs, the liver, spleen, pancreas, stomach, large and small intestines, urinary bladder, reproductive organs, and then we can move around our waist to the lower back to include the kidneys, the adrenal glands. Then we can draw our hands out, shake them out, rubbing the palms together. Massaging our arms, beginning with the left arm. We'll give a little tap to the fingertips and then up the outside and down the inside. what this feels like. Take your time to notice sensation, not just going through the motions, but really being with what is happening. What does this feel like? Can it feel better? Can it feel more meaningful, purposeful? How do you do that? I don't know. But we can. And up one more time, and then down. Changing sides, tapping the fingertips, up the outside, down the inside. Breathing. Feeling. Noticing. And let's go up one more time and then down. Deep breath in. Shake it out. Rubbing the palms together, we can bring our feet out front. And we can massage the bottom of our feet with our thumbs and work in between the long bones on the top of our feet with our fingers. You can milk your toes if you'd like. You can pinch and rub the edge of your foot that's facing up towards you. And then if you'd like, you can follow the funnel down to the deepest hollow on the bottom of the foot, applying a little pressure to that spot. This point is like our taproot, connecting us to the earth. The name bubbling spring. It's kind of like the primordial ooze. We're connecting to the origin, the beginnings. We rise out of the ooze and stand up, and look around and walk around. So from here, let's bring our hands up the inside of the legs and thighs and around the hips and down the outside. Oh, would you mind opening the door? And again, just feeling what this feels like. Like, what do your legs, what does your body, what does the whole universe need right now? Can you give that to yourself and everything by doing this? And let's come up one more time, and then around and down and out. A nice deep breath in. Shake it out. Rub the palms together. And then let's return to a comfortable seated or standing position. Thumbs in the fingers. Tuning in, gathering our attention, Feeling the alignment of the body. Breathing through the body. And noticing the focus of the mind and also the space around the focus of the mind. And whenever you're ready, you can slowly open your eyes. All right. Any questions about anything? Okay. So, this past weekend was the beginning of the third phase of winter. And so the third phase of every season is the one that comes just before the solstice and the equinox. So this is the phase before winter solstice. And so what that means is that this is the darkest time of the year. Like these 2 weeks leading up to the solstice is when the days will be the shortest and the nights will be the longest. And then the solstice will happen and it will be balanced. And then the days will start getting a little bit longer after that. So the name of this phase is called Major Snow. If only. But yeah, so Major Snow and this theme of winter that we've talked about, kind of, the cold and the dark and like less resources outside of us. And so we learn to, or we're really encouraged and directed to resource within ourselves, and again, like this is, I feel like part of the reason why this is the holiday season. This is why we gather together in community, and this is why we share things with each other, and we express generosity and all of this. It's about coming together, finding light within community, or finding light within ourselves, because it's not so evident outside of ourselves. Not that it's not there, it's just not as available because it's dark and it's cold. And so again, just continuing to work with that theme. And, a lot of people who I've been talking to recently are feeling a little low, which can also happen when it gets a little darker and a little colder, and maybe there's this, on TV or social media or however, there's all these images of like celebrating and all these things that are happening and everybody's all happy and all of that. And it's like, if we don't feel in alignment with that, it can make us feel even further away from those things. But, I would say a lot of those images are just crap, trying to make us feel unhappy and like we don't have enough, so that we go out and consume a bunch of things that we don't need for, and buy presents that people don't want and all of that. So, I do feel like going inward, feeling a little low is part of it. It's like, yeah, I'm maybe a little less inclined to just want to go out and to be all up and out. My energy is settling inwards and downwards and consolidating, because that's the nature of cold and dark. And as we just allow ourselves to do that and just be with that, we might find that that's not that big of a problem. It might be different than the messaging that we're getting, but it's not necessarily wrong. It's just what's happening. And with that, dropping into that and feeling that, not needing to do anything about it, not needing to change it, not needing to know why it is that way or how it will change, but just being with it may then be that bit of insight or light that this time of year is all about connecting with. So just offering that. Okay. So then I'll talk a little bit about this guy who's on the board. And some of you are probably familiar with this image somewhat. And the reason why we have this image on here is because today with our practice, we're going to do, we'll get into Tai Chi as Qigong or Tai Qigong in a little bit, but, first we'll do a Qigong practice, and it's one of the kind of, canonical Qigong forms, the 8 pieces of brocade or the Duan Jin. And I guess historically or mythologically, the 8 pieces of brocade is attributed to Bodhidharma, this guy. So his Indian name is Bodhidharma, his Chinese name is Damo, and his Japanese name is Daruma. And so Bodhidharma is considered to be, again, whether this is what actually happened, something happened. We don't know what the exact story is, but what the story is that Bodhidharma came from India to China, brought Buddhism to China. And then Buddhism, the Buddhists and the Taoists kind of intermingled and talked with each other and kind of, their philosophies got wedded, and then that became Chan Buddhism in China. And Bodhidharma is considered to be the first ancestor of Chan Buddhism, and there were 6 Chinese ancestors. And then over time, Chan Buddhism migrated to Korea, and it also migrated to Japan, and in Japan it became Zen Buddhism. So Bodhidharma is considered to be the first ancestor of Zen Buddhism. And the story is that when he got to China, he went to the Shaolin Temple and saw that there were all these monks just meditating, and they were weakened and kind of, achy and sore from so much sitting. And so he said, well, you need to do something to help balance that out. And that's what the 8 pieces of brocade is. It's a form of Qigong that kind of helps to stretch and strengthen the body so that then you can do longer periods of sitting meditation without being uncomfortable or getting all out of whack. Again, I don't know if that's really true because I'm sure they were practicing Qigong long before Bodhidharma showed up in China, but that's the story. And he's usually depicted kind of like this, with like a look on his face of like, what? And maybe, it's supposed to be kind of enigmatic. Like, is he happy? Is he angry? Does he not care? We don't know. But there's also a really fun story about Bodhidharma, that when he was coming to China, the emperor heard he was coming, heard he was some great sage from India, and so he was like, great, I want to talk to this guy. So he meets him, and when Bodhidharma shows up, the emperor welcomes him, and he says, Bodhidharma, I hear you're a great sage full of wisdom. My mind is not at ease, and I would like you to help me put it at ease. And so Bodhidharma says, okay, so I want you to come to my tent where they were all kind of camped out. I want you to come to my tent at 3 a.m. by yourself, just you and me. And the emperor was like, okay, but as he was thinking about it, because, he's a rough-looking guy, and he had been traveling, over the Himalayas, and so I'm sure he was, again, even rougher than he normally looks. And the emperor is usually accompanied by a whole entourage and bodyguards and all of this. And it's like, so this guy wants me to show up to his tent by myself in the middle of the night? Like, that's making my mind even more not at ease. But he goes through with it, so he shows up at the tent. And so they're sitting together in Bodhidharma's tent, and so Bodhidharma says, what's the problem? And the emperor says, my mind is just not at ease. I'm the emperor. There's so much going on. Please help me put my mind at ease. And Bodhidharma said, no problem. Give me your mind, and I'll put it at ease. And so the emperor's like, huh? And Bodhidharma's like, yeah, just find your mind, get it, give it to me, and I'll put it at ease. And then they just sat and looked at him. And the emperor sat and looked back at Bodhidharma, and then they just sat and looked at each other for a while. And then the emperor was looking for his mind, trying to find something that he could grab and present to Bodhidharma. And after enough time passed, eventually, the emperor just bowed to Bodhidharma. And that was that. So that's a fun story. But also, again, even, with this time of year in major snow and kind of the darkness and the cold and the heaviness. And it's like, and if we're feeling not at ease, or if we're feeling something, just being with that, like, again, not trying to get away from it, not trying to grab it and throw it out or get something else and put it in and replace it, but just being with it long enough to the point where maybe there's some space that shows up around whatever we're thinking or feeling, whatever ease or dis-ease that we have going on. There's also space that whatever that is exists within. And what happens when we drop into that space? And what have we learned through quantum physics? That empty space is really just full of light. And so, again, like, just working with that this time of year. And if it's still a struggle, then find this guy. But that's also the thing, right? Is that, this guy is all of us, all the time, kind of with this look. And what does that look even mean? Like, I don't know. Different all the time. Okay, so now we'll practice some Qigong. All right, great. And, we've done this form before, and we've done it in different ways, because I think I've learned it about 3 or 4 different ways from different teachers. And so, so sometimes the way that my practice has evolved, it's just kind of a mishmash of these different kinds of ways. And some of you may be familiar with this form and have done it with other teachers or other videos and in other ways. And so it may be different than what you're familiar with. And rather than that being like a problem, we can just say, right, because there's not one way to do it. There are many different ways. And so I think the way we'll do it today is really just an easy kind of way, because easy is nice. So, yeah, if you're standing, we can just take a moment to stand here. Find our feet on the ground. Maybe lift your toes off the ground. Let your knees unlock so that you can find your heels and find the outside edges of your feet. Finding the big toe mound. The knees are unlocked so that we can settle in to the feet. And maybe even taking a moment, the toes, you can lift them, and then you can also put them down into the ground, and even like pushing yourself away from the ground through your feet. Like, feel what that's like. Lift your toes, settle into the ground, let your toes come down, push yourself away from the ground. Like, get in touch with the ground through your feet. Let your knees be soft and unlocked. Maybe take a moment and gently spread the floor apart with your feet so you really feel the outer edges of your feet. You feel the IT bands get engaged. Feel what that feels like. And then back off of that a little bit, but maintain that connection through the outside edge of the foot. And then just bring your awareness into your pelvic bowl. And maybe tilting your pelvis forward and back just to feel what that feels like. Maybe some circles in one direction and back the other direction. Again, just to wake things up or to move our awareness into these places in our bodies. And then from the top of the hip bones, we can continue to move up into the rib cage and taking a deeper breath to really wake up the ribs and bring awareness there, especially into the lower back rib cage. Like, breathe into that area, even if you need to put your hands there to try to breathe into your hands, because it's not a place that we breathe into very easily. But we want to invite the breath there. It's almost like we're lifting the lower ribs up and off of our lower back. breathing into the whole backside of the rib cage, in between the shoulder blades, almost like we're breathing ourselves a little turtle shell. Maybe taking a nice deep breath in, let your shoulders come up as you inhale. Fill all the way up with the breath. And then exhale, back and down with the shoulders. Just do what you need to do to bring more breath into the whole rib cage. To feel what that's like. To become aware of places where it's like, wow, I haven't felt what this area feels like in a long time. And then thinking about the backside of the skull and reaching back like as if you were sitting in your car seat and you're pressing the back of your head into your headrest. Not only back, but also a little bit up so that the chin tucks slightly, the back of the neck gets longer. And as you breathe, think about breathing high into the bridge of your nose as your head is moving up and back. And if you do it in a good way, you might feel these neck muscles just start to light up, lengthening the neck, lengthening the whole body. So just moving awareness into our bodies, waking up certain areas that go to sleep because of our habitual ways of sitting, standing, being. So let's bring our feet a little closer together. The hands can come into Diamond Mudra. And I'll mirror you as we move. On your next inhale, inhale and roll your shoulders up. And then back, and as you exhale down, soften your knees, let your hands come apart. And then open towards the windows, the hands can come out. And then we'll relax. Gently interlacing your fingers and inhale the hands up the front of your body. When they get to about the level of your face, you can exhale, turn your palms to face up, and then inhale again. Stretch up, look up, and then look forward, and then exhale. And again, inhale the hands up to the throat, and then exhale. Turn the palms to face up, and then inhale, press up, look up, hold, look forward, exhale. The knees can soften as the hands come down, and then we'll inhale. Exhale as you turn your palms. Inhale, press up, look up, hold, look forward, stretch, and let it go. So you can continue with that breath pattern. If you'd like, you can do it all in one breath. So inhaling, turning the palms up, keep inhaling, stretch, look forward, and exhale. So whichever way works for you. If one long breath isn't enough breath, then break it into two. You can inhale and exhale, and inhale and exhale. Knees bending, or one long breath, inhaling all the way up and stretch and out. Let the knees bend as the hands come down, and inhale up. Stretch, look up, look forward, relax, reaching out to the sides. We'll just move like this for a little while. Stretching up, reaching out, hips move back, knees bend. Take your time, just finding some movement, flexibility, elasticity. This movement's often called holding up the sky with both hands. And it can be just a nice, easy, stretchy kind of flow. And if you'd like, you can also introduce a little more kind of dynamic tension, as you're pressing up overhead, like you're pushing something heavy up, holding it up. You can play with different ways of doing this. Because there's not just one way of holding up the sky with both hands. One more time. Palms up, pressing up and holding, looking forward and exhaling. And then we'll gather the arms out and up, step the feet a little closer together. And exhale, back down into Diamond Mudra. Take a breath or two or three. And just feel the effects of these simple movements, but they really get things happening. The heart beating, the muscles full of blood and chi, lymph pumping. So again, let's inhale, roll our shoulders up and back, and then exhale down, soften your knees, let your hands separate, and then we'll step out a little wider. And then our hands can come up to about heart level, and we'll take our mirror hand and make kind of an L shape with your fingers. This will be our arrow. Our window hand is going to grab a bowstring, so like we're drawing a bow. So as we inhale, we're going to pull our window elbow back, send our arrow towards the mirrors, and look at your finger, your tip of your index finger. Stay focused. Breathe big. And as you exhale, release the bowstring. Hand floats out and around, and then both hands can come down. And then we'll bring them up. Now the window hand becomes the arrow. The mirror hand grabs the bowstring, and as we inhale, we stretch wide. If you'd like, you can sink into your knees, reach through that mirror elbow, press through that window hand, and then let go of the bow. And just breathe naturally as the hands come down and as they flow up. And then other side, so big breath in, we stretch. If you want to be tall through the legs, you can. If you want to sink through the legs, you can, but we're stretching, and then let go. And breathe natural. Hands coming up to the heart. Position yourself and then breathe in. Stretch and hold. Press through the elbow and the fingertip, and then release. Take your time. Hands up to the heart. Draw your bow. Stretch. Fill your body with your breath, and then release. Take your time. No hurry. There's really nothing to do, nowhere to go. Big breath in. Hands flowing up to the heart. Let's do one more on each side. Big breath in. Stretch. Release. One more towards the windows. Stretching. Release. And then inhale the arms out and up, stepping the feet closer together. Relax. Hands down into Diamond Mudra. Yeah, and just feeling as we kind of settle into this posture, like, oh yeah, doing that a couple times, and then some seated or still meditation just kind of happens. So let's inhale, the shoulders can roll up and back, and we'll exhale down. As the knees soften, the hands separated, we can open. So the hands can come up to heart level again. We're going to take our window hand, turn the palm up, mirror hand, palm down, and we're going to inhale and press, look over the mirror shoulder, the open shoulder. Stretch. And then exhale, turn the palms towards each other. Just take your time as the hands move close towards each other, and then they move past each other. This upper hand will need to turn, but then we just inhale and press, stretch. Reach down through the lower hand, up through the upper hand, root it through the feet, and then relax. Breathe naturally, but we want to get to the point where when we're ready to press the palms away from each other, we're inhaling. Stretch and relax. The hand that's moving up is closer to the body, and it can come around, and then big breath in. Stretching, flexing through the wrists, through the fingers, through your feet, and then relax. Take a couple breaths if you need to as the hands are trading places. Or maybe it's just one continuous breath. Big inhale. Inhale. Exhale. In. Stretch. Again. One more time on each side. In. Last one. Inhale the arms out and up. Gather to center. Relax. Hands into Diamond Mudra. Take a moment to connect through your feet to the earth, lifting up and back through the base of your skull, breathing in between the shoulder blades behind the heart. inhale our shoulders up and back. Exhale down, soften the knees, hands separated, we can step out. Let's bring our palms back to back, down in front, looking down, bringing the chin towards the chest. We're not so much rounding deeply through the back, it's more of just like the neck and the upper back, stretching. And really press those pinkies, the backs of the pinkies together so you get that rotation in the shoulders, stretching through the neck. And then slowly, gently, roll yourself up, open the hands, and then turning the thumbs back behind you. The hands are still mostly by the sides. We're not reaching back, we're just turning. The palms open, thumbs turning, reaching back behind us. As they do that, and as we're nice and tall, if it's available to you, you can then look over your mirror shoulder, but really reaching up and back through the back of the head, nice and tall, and then relax, come back to forward, palms come back to back, chin down towards the chest, back of the pinkies pressing together, and then nice and slow on the inhale, we roll up. Hands to the sides of the body, thumbs reaching back behind us, and we can look over the window side shoulder as we inhale. And then exhale. Knees can soften a little bit, but again, we're not really bending or rounding forward too much beyond the neck and the upper back. And then inhale yourself up, arms out to the sides, palms facing the walls on either side of you, thumbs pointed behind you, looking over the shoulder as you stretch, reach down through your fingers towards the ground, and then exhale. And take some extra breaths as you need, because this is a slow movement. And then inhaling, rolling up, palms facing the walls on either side, reach down through your fingers, thumbs reaching behind you, looking over the shoulder, and then release. It's a slow movement, but it's got my heart rate up. Inhaling, getting up first, and then looking over the shoulders, reaching down through the fingers towards the ground, thumbs behind you. Relax. One more time towards the windows, rolling ourselves up. Looking over the shoulder as the thumbs turn back behind us. Release. Gathering the arms out and up. Exhale. Hands into Diamond Mudra. Lift through your collarbones. Lift through the back of the skull. Lifting the back of the skull off of the neck. Allowing the back of the neck, it's almost like it's pulling the collarbones from the back of the neck, like, up this way. Collarbones up, back of the neck up, shoulders spreading wide. Fill all of this space with breath. Like, a lot of times this area isn't as open as it might feel right now, and that can feel a little vulnerable. So just show up in this area. Let's inhale our shoulders up and back. Exhale down, soften the knees, separate the arms, and we'll step out. Now, let's take our breath on the inhale, hands up overhead, palms up. And then we'll exhale, the hands come around. We're going to bring our hands to our thighs, so you need to bend your knees. Fingers on the inside, thumbs on the outside. And make sure you've got a nice, comfortable, wide stance, feet angled out a little bit. So I love this movement. I think when I first learned it, I hated it, but now I just love it. So if you hate it, I hope you will eventually love it. So let's do this. We're going to inhale ourselves up and then turn towards our mirror foot. Hinge your upper body, send your hips back so you're bending your knees and you're looking at your mirror foot. Keep your gaze on your mirror foot and just swing your upper body over towards your window leg. And now we're going to take our mirror shoulder and turn it up and look up towards the ceiling. And then through this window leg, press to come up. And then relax. So we're going to press up, turn towards our window leg, send the hips back, hinge your upper body, look at your window foot. Keep your gaze on that foot as you swing your upper body over towards the other leg. And then with your shoulder, your window shoulder, you're turning up with your gaze towards the ceiling. And then through this mirror leg, just press yourself up. Again, in, turn, and then hips back. Exhaling, look at this foot, keep your gaze there. Inhale, swing yourself over. And you can exhale here if you'd like. And then roll the shoulder up and the gaze towards the ceiling and then press through that window leg. And relax. And you know, the breath can get complicated, so just breathe as you need. So we'll come up, turning towards the mirror foot. Thank you. We'll turn towards the window foot. Hips hinge back. Looking at the window foot. Keep your gaze there and just swing over. Still looking at the window foot. And then the shoulder and the gaze come up towards the ceiling, and then you press through the mirror foot. It's just so nice. Let's do one more on each side. Turn, hips back. Knees can bend, it's a little bit of a squat. Watching your foot, keep your gaze there as you swing over. Shoulder comes up, gaze comes up, press through that leg to come up. This is the rest. And then one more time. Up and turn, hips back, looking at the window foot. Keep your gaze on that foot, swing over. Shoulder up, gaze up, press through your mirror foot to come up. And then let's sweep the arms out and up. Step our feet a little closer together and relax. Isn't that nice? I hope you do come to love it one day. It has really helped my hips and low back in a really good way. Sometimes the 8 pieces of brocade is called the 8 treasures for a strong and healthy back. So now that we've generated some heat, let's cool things down. Let's inhale the shoulders up and back. Exhale down, soften the knees, and we can step out. Inhale your arms out and up. Palms together and just exhale, and then we'll just be breathing naturally here, so take your time. We're going to press the thumbs into the sternum and slowly draw the hands down over the lungs, over the heart, and then palms over the lower ribs and the belly, and then around to the lower back. You can massage your lower back as the hands slide down. And then press, as your hands get to the top of your hip bones, press your hips back into your hands. So you're hinging at your hips, your knees can be unlocked. And from here, your hands can slide down the backside of the legs, just as far as is comfortable. Maybe the back of the knees is as far as you want to go. If you want to go a little further, you can, reaching back through the hips. The hands come out in front, and then to the tops of the shins, pressing into the hands as we drag ourselves from the back of the head. We'll bring ourselves up to the hips. And then we inhale. And exhale. And so you can do this movement just like this, just dragging the thumbs down the sternum, palms over the lower ribs, around to the lower back, massaging the kidneys in the lower back, pressing the hips back into the hands, hands sliding down the back of the legs as far as they'd like to go. And then we can bring them around to the front, pressing into the shins, pulling from the back of the head, dragging ourselves up. And then we'll inhale. So you can do it like that. You can also take your time coming down. As the hands come over your face, give your face a little face massage. Maybe the hands run over the scalp once or twice or 3 times, down the back of the neck and around. And then again, palms together, thumbs pressing into the chest, the heart, and the lungs, over the lower ribs, and you can massage your lower ribs, massaging onto the belly, onto the abdomen, into the lower abdomen and the hip creases. Working your way around your hips, take some time to massage your lower back. The SI joint, the sacrum, down into the hips, and then an alternative to the hands sliding down the back of the legs is you press your hips back into your hands and your hands sweep around in front. You're reaching your hips and your hands away from each other, and then the hands float down to the shins. Press into the shins with your hands, lift through the back of your head, and draw yourself back up. And then we'll inhale up. And exhale. So the short version, palms together, thumb into the chest, over the lower ribs, around the waist to the lower back, and down through the lower back, hips into the hands, hands down the back side of the legs as low as you'd like to go till they come around to the front. Press into the shins with your hands, lift through the back of the skull to drag yourself up, and then gather up, exhaling. And then if you wanted, a face massage, a scalp massage around the back of the neck, hands into the chest, massaging the ribs and the belly, around the waist to the lower back and hips, and then hips into the hands sweep around, reaching the hands and the hips away from each other until they float down to your shins, reaching through the back of the head. And then let's gather our arms up, feet together, and relax into Diamond Mudra. See the design of this, like we did that one movement that was really hard and got us hot, maybe a little irritated, and then we did this nice self-massage, and now it's like, life is good. Let's inhale the shoulders up, and back, and then exhale down, soften the knees, separate the feet, and then we'll open out. Hands open by the hips. So I'll mirror you. This is a slightly different way of doing this movement that some of you may already be familiar with. And it might take me, I might have to do it once to get the breath. But let's start with an inhale. No, we'll inhale here. And then exhale, send our mirror hand out. Turn the palm down and then start to turn it up as you inhale. Stretch. And then exhale, as you pull it back in, the other hand is moving out. So the palms pass each other. Exhaling, and now as this outer palm begins to turn up, inhale. And make sure that you're long and tall and straight. And then exhale. Hand comes out as it begins to turn up. Inhale. Lengthen through the back of your skull. Stretch. And then exhale. And then as the palm turns up, inhale. And if your shoulder is, coming up like this, don't turn as far. And then exhale. So don't let the movement take you out of structural integrity. Just go as far as you're able. And over time, most likely you'll be able to go a little further. So inhale as this palm turns up. Then exhale. And the movement is coming from the hips also. So the hips are rotating, the shoulder girdle is rotating, and then we exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. In and out. One more time on each side. Or maybe a couple more, because it seems like we're starting to get the hang of it. In, out. So it's like this window hip and this mirror hand are reaching away from each other. Mirror hip and window hand are reaching away from each other. One more each side. Just bring this hand back, and then let's gather up. Breathing through the whole body. And again, lift your toes off the ground. Find your big toe mound, your heels with soft knees, your outer edge, like spread the floor gently. Soft knees. Breathe behind your heart. Lift through the back of your skull, up and back, slight tuck to the chin. Get long, get wide, and get deep. Inhale up and back. Exhale down, soft knees. And then we'll step out. So now we're going to inhale and just slightly come off of our heels. And then as you exhale, gently land on your heels. So soft knees. Really use your toes. So if you try to balance on the balls of your feet, that can be hard. So really think about rooting in with your toes and then inhale yourself up. Find your toes. Find that stability. And then soft knees. Inhale. We can use our hands to help us come up. Yeah, and you can drop at your own pace whenever you need to. Again, use your toes. It's like if I'm on the balls of my feet only, it's like very unsteady, but toes, oh, help. Let's go a little faster. And then just small bounces on the heels now. Like we're just doing our shaking Qigong. Let your shoulders bounce up and down. Maybe bend at your elbows a little bit. Get more movement in the arms. Maybe your whole foot's coming off the ground. You can jump up and down. Or the feet stay rooted to the ground and you're just jiggling a little bit. Like find what works for you. What's doable. Some blithers, some audible exhales. This is the last movement, so it's kind of like a celebration. Like we made it through. And then a big sigh of relief. So we only have a couple minutes left. That took longer than I was thinking. But let's do at least some Tai Chi Qigong. So even from just right here, our feet are where they need to be. We're just going to do it standing in place. So let's just inhale the hands up and down. Inhale. And then let's bring our window hand underneath and find our Tai Chi ball. We've got our weight shift. This upper hand is like chest, throat, heart level, lower hands about lower dantian, hip level, not too far out in front. We're just nice and round and comfortable. And then this lower hand, like we're tossing a frisbee, and as we toss the frisbee, because the ball moves, the upper hand is just going to drop. So we toss the frisbee as we weight shift, and the upper hand just drops to about hip level. And then let's take this lower hand, it can gather things up for us and bring us over to the other side. Now the palms face each other. And then again, lower hand, like it's tossing a frisbee, and the upper hand drops. And now our lower hand, it's going to gather things up and form our ball. Toss the frisbee, upper hand just drops, and not too far behind, and then we gather up. And again, other side. And this lower hand, it's not coming out here. We're not, whee! It's here. Still here. Intentful. This upper hand, not straight up like it's holding a plate, not down. It's kind of at a 45-degree angle and towards us a little bit. Not open this way, but facing us. And then our lower hand is going to gather things up. And then toss the frisbee, gather, toss the frisbee. And as we gather, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Take your time. Inhale. Exhale. In. Out. In. And there's a very subtle weight shift, a very gentle rotation. We gather up. And we're here, we're settled, we're relaxed, and we just move with ease, with intention, gathering up and out. In, out. let's hold here. If we were continuing on, we would turn the ball over. And we can turn it back the other way. One more time. And then let's just let our hands drop, sweep everything up, and exhale down the front of the body into Diamond Mudra. And then just let your hands relax by the sides of your body and just stand. Feel your alignment between heaven and earth. Feel this collagen crystalline matrix of our skeleton, oriented, not slack, but engaged, even a little bit of traction through our intention, pressing down through the ground, lifting up through the back of the skull, allowing the shoulders to spread wide. There's traction in all of this collagen-based tissue, tendon, ligament, cartilage, bone. Traction to collagen-based tissue creates piezoelectricity. There is electricity flowing through our bodies. We are a filament between heaven and earth. We are ourselves light particles. So tuning into ourselves, aligning, breathing, we are generating light. Empty space is full of light. Where does the light within us and the light outside of us end and begin? Is it all the same? And you can relax, step out a little, we'll rub our palms together, and massage our faces a couple times, back and forth over the head a couple times, down the back of the neck and around, over the chest, to the lower ribs and the belly. Well, this is familiar. Around the waist to the lower back. And let's draw our hands out, shake them out. And we'll pat up one arm, down the inside, up the other side, and down, and then around and down, the back of the legs, up the front, and again around and down, up the front. All right. Great. And it's Jake's birthday today. Round of applause. Yeah. Okay. So thank you all for being here. Thanks for practicing. 8 treasures. It's a great form. Harmonizing heaven and earth. Really easy. But also a great practice. If that's all that you were doing, you get a whole lot with that. You know, weight shift, rotation, neuroplasticity with the hands doing different things, crossing the midline. So easy stuff, very accessible. We just have to do it. All right, so thanks for practicing.
Thank you.
I hope you have a wonderful week. I'll be here next week, so if you'd like to join me, you can then. All right.
Thank you.
Bye. Okay, and thank you all for practicing online. I hope you have a wonderful week. Let me know if you'd like a recording, and I will send it to you. Bye.